Chris Brickley has trained some of basketball's most iconic figures, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and countless others who turned potential into dominance. When he set his sights on Caitlin Clark, it represented more than another client. It was a moment that could bridge the gap between NBA-level development and the women's game. But instead of seizing that moment, the Indiana Fever chose to block it.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
Their insistence on keeping Clark confined to team facilities has sparked frustration among fans and analysts alike. In an era when athletes thrive by seeking specialized support, the Fever's refusal to let her work with Brickley feels like a step backward, one rooted more in organizational pride than strategic growth. The real loss isn't measured in missed workouts, it's in momentum. Clark stands as the face of a movement that's expanding women's basketball's reach, and her continued growth directly fuels that movement. Preventing her from collaborating with an elite trainer doesn't just affect her stats. It affects the trajectory of the league she's helping to redefine. Giving players like Clark the autonomy to train with the best is how dynasties and legacies are built. Without that freedom, the sport risks slowing the very progress it's been fighting to achieve. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's most valuable player, whether she holds the trophy or not. Her presence alone has exploded ticket sales, spiked TV ratings, and pulled women's basketball into a new stratosphere of relevance. She's not just an athlete, she's the face of a movement. And now, she's reportedly out, walked away, not from the league, but from the Indiana Fever, at least temporarily, after the team decided to block her from working with NBA super trainer Chris Brickley. This isn't just a training decision. This is a full-blown power struggle, and it's playing out in real time, with Clark caught in the middle. Chris Brickley isn't some Instagram fitness influencer chasing clout. He's one of the most respected names in basketball development, someone who's earned his stripes by training legends like LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Brickley knows how to build greatness. He knows how to protect it, and he made it very clear. He wants to work with Caitlin Clark. He sees the potential. He sees the need. But what's stopping this from happening? The Fever. The Indiana Fever are reportedly refusing to let Clark train with Brickley outside their facilities. They want all her development done in-house, under their direction, by their people. On the surface, maybe that sounds like structure, like discipline. But dig a little deeper, and it's clear this is about control. Let's not pretend the Fever are a developmental powerhouse. This isn't a franchise known for producing elite talent at scale. And yet, when their most important player, the most important player in the league, has the chance to work with someone who's helped mold the best in the world, they say no? What's the logic? The results speak for themselves. Clark's rookie season has been physically punishing. She's taken hard hits game after game, and her body is already starting to feel the impact. The Fever's training regimen, whatever it is, isn't keeping her as protected or prepared as it should. And now, when she has an opportunity to train smarter, recover better, and evolve faster, the organization shuts the door. Not because of any red flags with Brickley's methods, not because of logistics, but because they don't want to lose control over their player. It's not just short-sighted, it's reckless. NBA players train with outside specialists every offseason. It's not even controversial. From Steph Curry to Jimmy Butler, elite players have always built their own teams of experts to handle their unique needs. No one questions it. No one blocks it. Because everyone understands, your body is your business. And in pro sports, the margin between greatness and breakdown is razor thin. Clark deserves the same autonomy. She's not a college kid anymore. She's a professional, and her professional judgment, paired with the interest of someone like Chris Brickley, should be more than enough to justify flexibility. But instead of supporting her, the Fever are holding the line like it's a matter of franchise identity. Like letting her work with an elite trainer would be some kind of defeat for their own staff. And that tells you everything you need to know. This isn't about Clark's best interest. It's about internal politics, the staff's pride, the team's control, a desperate grip on authority in the face of a player who has already outgrown the system around her. Clark didn't ask to be a movement. She didn't ask to carry the league's momentum on her back. But that's what happened. She brought millions of eyes to a league still fighting for national attention. She filled arenas that had never seen a sellout. She brought legitimacy. She brought money. And what she's getting in return? Bureaucratic roadblocks. Let's be real, this isn't just a basketball problem. This is a systemic one. Too often, women athletes are expected to conform to outdated models of team unity that prioritize control over growth. In the name of structure, individuality gets squashed. Development gets micromanaged. And when a player steps outside that mold, the organization clutches its pearls. What Clark's asking for isn't radical. It's standard. It's the same support male athletes receive as part of their normal off-season prep. Yet when she tries to access it, it's treated like a betrayal. Like she's breaking some unspoken code of loyalty. But loyalty to what, exactly? An organization that's limiting her? A system that can't keep her healthy? A training program that's already showing cracks? Brickley has a proven record, not just of skill development, but injury prevention. That's what Clark needs right now. She's not struggling with effort. She's not lacking work ethic. What she needs is advanced physical development, training that adapts to her body, her play style, her position as the most targeted player in the league. That's not something you fix with team drills and conditioning. That's something you solve with elite, personalized training. And if the Fever can't see that, then they're choosing pride over performance. That's not just a bad decision. It's an organizational failure. And here's the broader issue. This doesn't stay contained to one player or one team. This sends a message to the entire league that when women athletes try to take control of their development, they'll be met with resistance, that their input doesn't matter, that their health is secondary to organizational ego. That's a dangerous precedent, because when stars like Clark are blocked, it affects everyone. The fans lose. The league loses. The momentum stalls. And the player? She either gets hurt or she walks away. And that's where we are now, with Clark reportedly stepping back after the Fever doubled down on control instead of collaboration. The most frustrating part? This could have been a win for everyone. Letting Clark work with Brickley would have shown the league evolving, supporting its stars, embracing innovation. It would have created a blueprint for how to keep elite athletes thriving in a grueling league. Instead, the Fever chose to guard their own turf. And now they risk losing the one player who's done more for their brand than anyone else in their history. This isn't just about minutes played or points scored. It's about what the league wants to be. Does the WNBA want to be a place where stars are built or broken? Does it want to grow with its players or control them in a burnout? Clark's decision to walk away, whether for rest, for protest, or for self-preservation, isn't dramatic. It's rational. She's being smart. She knows her value. She knows her worth. She's not going to wait around for her body to collapse just to make a front office feel better about their system. And fans? They're not stupid. They see what's happening. They know this isn't about logistics or policy. This is about power, about a player trying to build her career the right way and an organization doing everything in its power to stop her. This moment matters, because if Clark can't gain control of her own training, what hope is there for younger players coming up behind her? What message does it send to the next generational talent when even Caitlin Clark has to fight this hard just to work with a trusted trainer? This isn't sustainable. The Fever can't afford to alienate their biggest asset, and the league can't afford to let its brightest star dim before she even hits her prime. Let her train. Let her heal. Let her lead. If you're tired of seeing elite athletes blocked by outdated systems, hit that like button. Comment below. Should Clark be able to choose her own trainer? Are the Fever protecting their team, or just their pride? Share this with someone who needs to know the real story behind the headlines. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns of the chaos, controversy, and power struggles shaping the future of sports. Caitlin Clark is not just a rookie. She's not just a scorer, or a headline, or a viral clip machine. She is the gravitational center of the WNBA right now. Her games aren't just watched, they're studied. Every step she takes on the court is dissected. Every hit she absorbs becomes a trending topic, and every highlight reel she creates moves the needle for an entire league. And yet, when she tries to make a basic, strategic decision for her own well-being, working with a proven NBA trainer, The Indiana Fever slammed the door shut. No real explanation. No compromise. Just a hard no. As if the idea of her getting stronger, faster, healthier outside of their system is too much to stomach. It's not just insulting. It's infuriating. Chris Brickley is not some side hustle guru with a gym and a strip mall. His resume is loaded with the biggest names in the NBA: LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell, you name it. These are athletes whose entire careers depend on maintaining peak condition through year-round, custom-built training. And Brickley's been a critical piece in that puzzle. He specializes in bridging the gap between performance and longevity, between talent and sustainability. And Clark wants in on that. For good reason. She's not just getting hacked on every drive to the basket. She's being targeted. She's learning quickly that being the league's biggest draw also comes with being its biggest bullseye. The WNBA is physical. The play is aggressive. And her frame, light, fast, agile, is taking a beating. It doesn't take a scout to see it. The body language is there. The bruises are visible. And yet, she continues to show up, lead her team, and carry the expectations of an entire sport. So why is the Fever treating her decision to get top-level training like a threat? They say they want the best for their players. They say they're building something special. But actions speak louder. Blocking Clark from working with Brickley doesn't scream, player first. It screams, we're insecure. It screams, we want control more than we want progress. Because that's what this is really about. Control. The kind of control that organizations cling to when they fear they're being outshined by the very stars they depend on. When a player like Caitlin Clark becomes the main reason people are tuning in, buying tickets, and showing up, that kind of influence makes front offices nervous. Especially if that player starts making moves outside the team's traditional power structure. But here's the thing. Clark isn't trying to escape her team. She's trying to elevate it. Training with Brickley doesn't mean she's disloyal. It means she's serious. It means she wants to be better, stronger, more prepared. Because when she's better, the Fever are better. When she wins, the team wins. When she plays well, the entire league cashes in. So what exactly are they afraid of? That someone else will get credit for her development? That she might come back from training camp with Brickley looking sharper than ever? That fans will start asking questions about why her biggest improvements came from outside the Fever system? Guess what? That's not a failure. That's a resource. Great organizations welcome outside expertise. They seek it out. They understand that player development isn't a solo act. It's a collaborative effort. You don't build greatness in a vacuum. You build it with a network of specialists, mentors, and support systems all working toward the same goal: keeping your star on the court and at the top of her game. But Indiana isn't seeing it that way. They're treating this like a turf war. And in doing so, they're not just holding back Clark. They're holding back their entire future. Because this isn't just a Caitlin Clark issue. It's a blueprint issue. If she can't break through the red tape, who can? If the most valuable asset in the league doesn't have the power to choose her own trainer, what hope is there for everyone else? This kind of micromanagement is archaic. And it's not just frustrating, it's dangerous. Because Clark is at a crossroads right now. She's at the point in her career where development choices can define the next decade of her life. Does she stay healthy? Does she evolve her game? Does she adapt to the physicality of the pros in a way that keeps her on the court for years to come? Or does she keep getting knocked around until the injuries start stacking up and the burnout sets in? There's no time for pride in situations like this. No room for red tape. If someone like Chris Brickley is willing to invest his time and energy into making Clark better, you say yes. You make the call. You book the flight. You clear the runway. But instead, the Fever is sitting on their hands, convinced that the best path forward is the one that keeps everything in-house, even if it limits the very person who's keeping their brand alive. And that's not just a missed opportunity. It's a leadership failure. Clark isn't asking for special treatment. She's not trying to be above the team. She's trying to maximize her potential in the same way her male counterparts have done for years. The NBA figured this out a long time ago. Top players train with whoever they trust. They fly across the country to work with shooting coaches, movement experts, biomechanics analysts, whatever it takes. And the league encourages it. Because they get it. If your star player gets better, your team gets better. Period. It's time the WNBA and the Indiana Fever in particular start understanding that. Because right now, they're running the risk of alienating their most important player over something that should have been no-brainer. And let's be real, Clark has options. Her value is through the roof. She could walk into almost any building in the league and be welcomed with open arms. So the Fever better be careful. Because if this kind of resistance becomes a pattern, they may lose more than just a training debate. They could lose the player entirely. Caitlin Clark has already proven her loyalty. She's shown up, kept quiet, put the work in, and done everything the team has asked of her. Now it's time for the team to return the favor. Let her train how she needs to train. Let her work with the best. Let her set the bar, not just for her own success, but for how star athletes should be treated in women's sports moving forward. If the Fever can't evolve, they'll get left behind. The league is watching. The fans are watching. And Clark, she's already made her point. Her game speaks for itself. Her decision to step away isn't drama. It's a line in the sand. If she can't access the resources she needs to succeed, she's not going to stick around just to play nice. She's going to demand better, as she should. At the core of all this is something way bigger than one player and one team. It's about what kind of future women's sports are heading toward. Are we going to build a league that prioritizes player development, health, and empowerment the same way men's leagues have evolved to do? Or are we going to keep pretending that outdated gatekeeping is somehow discipline? Because what's happening to Caitlin Clark right now is exactly the kind of moment that decides which direction things go. This isn't about drama. It's not even about a feud. It's about a generational talent trying to take responsibility for her own future and being blocked by the very people who should be helping her protect it. And that's the part that really gets under people's skin. The disconnect between what Clark represents and how she's being treated. She's the face of a league. She's the reason sold-out arenas are becoming the norm. She's the reason people who never watched a WNBA game before are suddenly wearing Fever jerseys and setting their notifications. She's elevated the game and the business immeasurably. So when someone with her level of commitment and visibility says, "Hey, I want to work with someone who trains the best in the world to help me stay at my best," and the answer from the team is no, it sends a message. And not the kind of message you want to be sending. Because what happens the next time a young player enters the league and sees how Clark's been treated? What happens when she sees that even the most high-profile player doesn't have the freedom to choose the best training option for her body? You think she's going to feel empowered? Inspired? No, she's going to think twice. And let's not pretend this is all theoretical. Clark's physical demands are different. She's a high-usage player facing brutal contact in nearly every game. She's not just another name on the roster. She's the scouting report. Opponents target her with full force because shutting her down means shifting the balance of the entire game. So yeah, she needs next-level training. She needs injury prevention built into her schedule. She needs rest and recovery methods that go beyond what a standard team facility can offer. She needs Chris Brickley or someone like him. And yet, she's expected to just sit tight, to wait for permission from a franchise that hasn't proven they can keep her body healthy or her skills set evolving the way she needs it to. That's not how championship players are made. That's how careers get shortened. The fact that this even became a thing is absurd. And don't be fooled. This isn't about rules or policy. This is about pride. The Fever don't want to admit they might not have all the answers. They don't want to risk someone else helping their star player shine brighter. But in doing so, they're making a decision rooted in fear, not growth. They're not asking, what's best for Caitlin Clark? They're asking, how do we stay in control? And control doesn't win games. Collaboration does. Innovation does. Trust does. And if the Fever don't start embodying those values soon, they're going to watch their most valuable player, and possibly their fan base, slip right through their fingers. Caitlin Clark isn't trying to make a scene. She's not out here throwing tantrums or leaking stories to the press. She's quietly made her move, stepping away until she gets what she knows she needs. That's not selfish. That's smart. That's leadership. That's what any pro athlete would do when faced with a system that isn't built to keep up with their goals. So now it's on the Fever. They can keep playing gatekeeper and hope it doesn't all backfire, or they can get out of their own way and start building a team that adapts to the needs of a modern star. Let her train. Let her breathe. Let her do what every great player before her has done. Find the right people, the right methods, and the right formula to extend her greatness. Anything less is sabotage, plain and simple. If this story made your jaw drop, hit the like button. If you think it's time organizations stop treating athlete autonomy like a threat, sound off in the comments. Do you think Caitlin made the right call? Would you walk away too if you weren't allowed to control your own development? Share this with someone who still thinks team loyalty means giving up your body for the system. And don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't just a story. It's the start of a bigger conversation about what athletes deserve in the leagues they build.